and welcome to episode 4 of the Caffeinated Marketing Podcast. It's December 31st, 2024. Happy New Year. I'm Becky, I'm your host, and here at Caffeinated, I'm hoping to give you the AI boost that your marketing deserves. We're here to talk about you, the marketer that's at the heart of this AI transformation, and give you some tips, tricks, and learnings of the best ways that you can leverage AI in your work. So today, I hope that you are wearing your stretchy pants and feeling cozy or ready to party. I am more in camp number one. I'll be spending the new year with my family in the mountains, cozied up and playing board games, eating Chinese food, and having a lot of laughs. I talked last time about our family tradition of making PowerPoints, and hopefully by now I've got all of my AI songs ready to go for a little bit of fun and games with my family tonight. So I'd love to ring out the year with a recap of how far we've come in 2024, and then what I think is coming next or might be coming in 2025. 2024 feels like it was a huge year in terms of our ability to have access to AI tools for our marketing work. Really, the biggest thing that you see this year is Gen AI content creation. Think back to this time last year and reflect on, were you using AI at all to support your work? I would say a year ago, a lot of my AI use was anchored in Copilot, a little bit of the other Microsoft suite. Chatgpt still felt a little inconsistent to me. Fast forward a year, and I am doing Gen AI content creation nearly every day. There's very little work that I do that doesn't get refined at a minimum using AI. And so, really, a tremendous transformation in terms of what has happened this year. Obviously, Gen AI content creation is one of the easily adoptable uh, ways of working with AI. I think it's one of those things that we all can relate to, whether you're a marketer or not. And that idea that you can create something from nothing is pretty exciting. So, a bunch of big launches this year: Adobe Firefly 2.0, DALL-E 4.0, Canva's AI Design Studio, Jasper, and Copy.ai Enterprise Editions all came out this year. These are all things that have evolved or been launched in 2024, which, when you think about it, is pretty exciting. One of the things we're going to talk about a lot in the podcast going forward are the ethics of AI. That matters to me tremendously. Safe use, understanding whose work is whose, I think gets a little bit sketchy in a world of AI. And so ethical frameworks are something that companies are starting to put together. Google, IBM, Microsoft, Anthropic all put frameworks together on the ethical use of AI this year. And I think those conversations around ethics are something that we should be having almost every day. There are some great experts on LinkedIn and other spaces that talk about the ethical use of AI. I've seen comments where people say there's no such thing as an ethical use of AI. I don't think that's true. But I do think there's a spectrum, and I do think that our personal beliefs play into that a lot. There's a lot of concern around AI and art and what's happening to train the models in terms of how AI art gets generated. I am not a designer. I am not gifted with much drawing or painting ability. I can tell you what I want and I can tell AI what I want, but I don't necessarily have the talent to go out and create images myself. So for someone like me, having the ability to create images, even just for personal use, is a lot of fun, and it puts it in reach where it would not have been for me before. However, I don't want to do that at the expense of someone else's creativity. I don't want to do that at the expense of someone else's livelihood. And I don't want to do it off the back of someone else's artistic work. And so thinking about those ethical frameworks, I think, is going to be a really important conversation that we're all going to have together as we move forward on this journey. The other big thing is, tools that came out this year around content reusability. A couple of examples of that are Hootsuite and Sprout. There's a lot of really great tooling now that can take your large human-built pieces of content, those deeply technical documents that you build, the things where you're really expressing your subject matter expertise, and where before these tools were in our toolbox, it might have taken you a really long time, a lot of effort to find, excise, package up the content into small, snackable, reusable modules. A lot of that is becoming more and more and more accessible. And I think that is true value add for a marketer. I do not believe that AI can replace the deeply human decisions that get made in terms of explaining technology, explaining concepts, engaging humans and persuading them to believe in, try, and buy your solution. But I do think that once you've done that foundational work, bringing it to life in new ways gets a whole lot faster if you've got these tools in your toolkit. So we'll spend a lot of time talking about content reuse and content propagation in this podcast. I think that's an area where there is a lot of progress and a lot of potential. I think 2024 was the year where adoption really started. Non-users became users and people just started to get their sea legs. Again, I think if you look back on your work from the beginning of the year to today, you'd be amazed how much progress you've made and the different ways you're using AI today than how you might have been using it in January when you came back from the break this year. I'll do a quick plug. I am writing a book. I'm working on a week by week guide to adopting AI and changing your mindset. And that will be coming out in the first quarter of 2025, because I think 2025 is the year that it feels like we need to start to see an impact from our work. So really driving you to think about, are you using AIs in ways that drive outcomes? The novelty factor is going to start to wear off. Now, there are new tools coming out all the time, and the wow factor of what you can get from some of those new tools is absolutely stunning. But how much more do we need to do to really think about using AI to drive impact in your business? Do you have a framework that allows you to measure impact? So if we're talking about early adoption use cases that are really around Gen AI content creative, is there something that you can measure? If you're in a creative role, is there a speed to your final product? Is there a speed to giving versions of things, of, propagating that content? For product marketing, can you accelerate a launch if you have the right arsenal of tools, the right prompting libraries, the right things to do to generate your content more quickly once you've gotten to solid messaging, positioning, proposition, and differentiation? For a content marketer, could you quantify the reuse and repackaging that you were able to do and the ways in which that extended the reach of the very valuable foundational content that you created? And then how do you take those considerations and turn them into a KPI-driven metric? Can you take those usage metrics and turn them into something that's associated with sales and revenue impact? Because at the end of the day, sales and revenue impact is where you're going to really start to see return on the investments that are being made. I talk a lot about how much we're investing in the tech that it takes to bring these things to all of us and the smart use of those resources. So if it takes the equivalent of a bottle of water to write an email using AI, pause and think, am I going to get benefit out of this? There are hidden costs to every choice that you make. And so we talk about AI, we talk about efficiency, we talk about, returning on investment, but is it actually faster? Is it actually better? How are you thinking about those things as you go into 2025 to be a more discerning user of AI and a more data-driven user of AI? The other thing that I think is coming in 2025 is agents. A lot of really exciting advancements right now in terms of agents. They are fast on the horizon. So what are the things that you're comfortable doing to set AI up to work independently? And then what are the use cases that it can be trusted to do well? Can you use AI agents to Do some of your targeting, your prospecting. Would you trust an AI agent to engage in chat or email? What about AI agents as eventual supplements or replacements for your BDRs and SDRs? The closer AI gets to your customer, the scarier it sounds to set it loose unsupervised. So think those things through, stay on top of the conversation. We're going to have a lot of conversations this year about agents and what's happening as that space starts to develop. 2024 was a year of tremendous expansion, new capabilities. I'm really looking forward to see how much that continues in 2025. And then whether we start to see, even as early as this year, a little bit of contraction and consolidation. Will enterprise grade tools snap up some of the more highly adopted standalone tools? And what are the things that will start to take shape in AI that really stretch us beyond content creation? So those are my end of year thoughts around AI. I did want to share a little bit of holiday fun with you before we close. So um, another head-to-head prompt that I ran using Claude, Chatgpt, and Copilot. I'm going to tell you about the prompt. I'm going to tell you about the things I liked and didn't like about each. So I come from a family of foodies and a family of cocktail enthusiasts. I tend to personally be a bit of a white wine girl, but I asked AI to generate for me ideas for a festive New Year's cocktail recipe. I asked it to include champagne and edible glitter for a celebratory touch. I wanted it to be not too sweet, and I wanted something that would be less likely to give me a hangover. I asked it to include an option for mocktails for the designated driver or kids at the party, give it a fun name, and include the list of ingredients, the mixing instructions, and a fun description. I asked it not to use alliteration in the name as it drives me crazy. Um, you'll see in a minute that that didn't necessarily work out. So my favorite response, kind of as usual, came from Claude. Claude recommended a Midnight Spark cocktail. I'm going to drop these recipes into the notes on the website at caffeinatedmarketing.com, but I thought it would be just fun. And it's interesting to me how much similarity there is in the recipes that I got from these three prompts. So, the Midnight Spark cocktail is a crisp, sophisticated New Year's libation that sparkles like the midnight sky, promising celebration without the next day regret. The delicate balance of champagne, gin, and herbal notes creates a drink as memorable as the moment the clock strikes 12. This one had gin, elderflower liqueur, champagne or sparkling wine, lemon juice, and lavender bitters. Um, Obviously, I'm going to drop the mixing instructions and the ingredients into the chat, but pretty good in terms of what I got. Now, hangover proofing, the only thing that I got back out of any of the tools was drink water between cocktails, use high quality spirits, and the light botanical nature of this drink helps minimize next day discomfort. I thought that was pretty funny because I was looking for, I don't know, a magical cure, I guess, but often I find that cocktails can be sweet and that contributes to the next day discomfort. So, ChatGPT came back with the sparkling stardust. So again, I asked to avoid alliteration, and that part of the prompt did not break through. But kick off the year in style with sparkling stardust, a dazzling champagne-based cocktail that's light, elegant, and not overly sweet. Touch of citrus and a swirl of edible glitter. This drink is as radiant as your resolutions. There's even a mocktail version to keep everyone feeling festive and included. This one had champagne, grapefruit juice, elderflower liqueur again, bitters, glitter, and grapefruit or rosemary for that garnish. Now, Copilot is interesting. I believe that Copilot has a tendency to cheat just a little. I'll talk later about a prompt that I gave to my team for a fun exercise, and my whole team of about 8 people ran that prompt. By the time we got further into people's answers, they started to be a lot the same. I think Copilot was like, oh, well, Becky asked me this question, and now someone else asks me this question. Seems like Becky liked my answer. I'll just recycle my answer. So interestingly enough, I ran this through Copilot a couple of times and it came up with the same name, Sparkling Stardust. And boy, does Copilot love some alliteration. So it's the same name and a lot of the same ingredients as the ChatGPT answer: champagne, elderflower liqueur, lemon juice, glitter. This was definitely the least elaborate. The Claude one might be too many ingredients. I've got a brother who's a mixologist, and I should ask him what he thinks of these. But Copilot definitely had the simplest drink, and unfortunately might have cribbed its answers off of ChatGPT. So, I hope that was fun. It might be a fun game to play over the break or tonight while you're celebrating with those closest to you. I hope everybody had a wonderful 2024. I hope you have an amazing 2025. I'm excited to continue this journey as AI marketers with you in the new year. Happy New Year. Cheers, y'all. Let's get caffeinated.